Welcome to the Sci-Fi Diner Classic. I'm one of your hosts, Scott Herzog.
Hello, I'm Miles P. McLaughlin.
Miles, do you remember our very first Farpoint convention?
Oh, I do, very much.
Because there were some real notable actors. I'm thinking of Sam Witwer, and
right.
You think of Felicia Day.
Of course, you think of her.
I do think of her. And then there's Lee Ehrenberg, who just released the interview not too long ago. And of course, we had a chance to sit down with the lovely, enigmatic Mira Furlan.
That's right.
So, how do people know Mira Furlan?
Well, there's this little heard of show called Lost.
Or Babylon 5.
Right.
This little mini show that, for some reason, people are fans of, right?
So, she was she was a lead character in Babylon 5, played Ambassador Delenn. And in Lost, she was Danielle Rousseau. So those, some big roles.
Yeah, especially in the genre fan community. And so she was there for the fans. We had a great time sitting down and chatting with her.
We did, yes.
Yeah. This interview was released originally in episode 61, which is available depending on the feed you get. I plan to make some of those back episodes available. I'm working on switching servers. I eventually do that full time. I still have a little bit of work to do for it. But, anyways, it's been great. We want to share this interview with you again, and I believe it's about a 20-25 minute interview.
Right, and so fans, if you enjoyed Babylon 5 and Lost,
and Lost, especially Lost, Danielle Rousseau.
Yes, Lost just went off the air last year.
Oh, it feels like forever, but it might only be last year. So Wayne would know.
Right.
But anyways, without further ado, here's our interview with Mira Furlan.
I hope you enjoy.
Our ship went aground on this island 16 years ago. There were 6 of us. My team. Our vessel was 3 days out of Tahiti when our instruments malfunctioned. It was night. A storm. The sounds. The ship slammed into rocks, ran aground. The hull breached beyond repair. So, we made camp, dug out this temporary shelter. Temporary. Our ship picked up a transmission. A voice repeating those numbers. I did it to Alphonse.
The dark territory.
The Black Rock is not far. This is where it all began, when my team got infected, when Montan lost his arm. It took them, one after the other. The firing pin has been removed. Robert didn't notice it was missing either when I shot him. The baby and I were together for only 1 week when I saw black smoke. A pillar of black smoke 5 kilometers inland. That night, they came. They came and took her. Alex. They took my baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, unless you've been living under a rock, you know the buzz about the series finale of the epic series Lost. Well, we're here with somebody that was there from the beginning. We're delighted to bring you the lovely lady who brought Ms. Danielle Rousseau herself, Ms. Mira Furlan. Ms. Furlan, thank you for taking time today to speak with us on the Sci-Fi Diner podcast.
Thank you for giving me this wonderful coffee.
We're delighted.
In the morning.
That's what keeps us going, right?
Right. So early on a Saturday morning. Did you get a chance to see the last Lost?
No.
Okay. All right. Then we won't talk about that.
Okay.
Now, let me ask the other question. Do you watch Lost then? As being a
Well,
part of
it's tricky watching the shows that you were connected or are connected with,
Right.
and so on. And I was away. I did a couple of projects in Europe, so I wasn't here. So I wasn't, in tune.
Right. Right. Now, you were on how many seasons of Lost?
4.
The 4. Okay. All right. And were you in every episode, or is it like episodic every so often?
It was. I played a so-called recurring character, which means that comes and goes.
What did you like about playing Danielle Rousseau?
Well, it was, it seemed to me that it's, it would have been, or was. I'm not sure how to articulate that one. A good role for me because it was so complex and layered, and you never knew who she really was. And there was a mystery around her. It had, depth and emotion and all kinds of elements. The problem was that it was, so sporadic that and so random kind of, by being there, that I couldn't really develop it. And that's unfortunately what happens on big shows like that.
Sure. With a big cast like that.
Yeah.
Did you like working in Hawaii?
But of course. It's a big draw,
That's
that
like
show.
play
It's
Catholic,
incredible.
right?
Hawaii, unbelievable. I'm so grateful that I got to know Hawaii a little bit, and then I brought my family and we went to the Big Island, which is a miracle. One of the most interesting places, I think, on the planet, because it's alive and you can actually see the how new land is being formed. You can watch it. So it's geologically and in all kinds of ways it's incredibly interesting. So beautiful place, and I enjoyed that.
That's not the only sci-fi epic you've worked on. What's the other big sci-fi epic that fans know you from?
Oh well, Babylon 5.
How many seasons did that run?
5.
And you were on all 5 seasons there.
Yeah.
And now tell us a little bit about the character you played of Babylon 5.
Oh, what a beautiful character that was.
Yeah.
It's just this spiritual, elevated, generous, but also tough and dangerous when needed. She was a delight to play, really, and of course Joe Straczynski's writing is fantastic. I think we all were very happy working on that show, and also the show had a cast of such wonderful people, and we all stayed in touch. Interestingly enough, which never happens. Never, even when you work on a show, you don't know those people and you're not in touch. But it's a very isolating business, I think, especially in America. But Babylon 5 was a different experience. Wonderful, different people. All of us came from completely different backgrounds, but somehow it all clicked and worked. Interesting.
And so you're still in touch with those people today?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's very unusual. Very.
Now, the first couple seasons we saw you, they put you in large prosthetics, and then they kind of lightened them up a little bit. Was that? We talked to Lee a little bit about the being prosthetics. Was that? Were you able to be comfortable in them, or just? Was it something that was cumbersome or really uncomfortable?
Well, when we began with the pilot, I don't know if you ever saw the pilot.
I saw it. It's been a long time.
Yeah, my makeup was completely. I was covered. my every single inch of my face was covered with prosthetic makeup, and I was unhappy, very unhappy. It kind of intruded into my own sense of myself, who I am really. What are my tools in what I do, and so on. Who is this person? Who am I?
Right.
And so on and on. Who is this actor? With all that stuff. Is that another being? I couldn't quite get it. I remember when I was so unhappy under that makeup that Andreas Katsoulas came to me and said, "Don't do that. I mean, think of it as think of how this whole thing began. You know, the history of drama, acting, and so on. It began in Greece with masks. You know?
Right.
And actually, to put a mask on your face is the essential kind of element of this profession of acting.
Right.
So try to find your freedom as an actor in being so restricted. Freedom is in restriction, and there is something to it, you know. And he showed it beautifully, you know, how he played.
Right.
What freedom he had as an actor, you know.
I mean,
what an incredible character he created.
Sure. I mean, as somebody watching, I mean, you still you appreciate what the actors are putting forth. You know, maybe even more so in some senses than the actors who have the freedom of not being in.
Yeah.
Their characters seem just a little more interesting as far as because they have to work a lot harder if they have to put on the makeup and the prosthetics.
Yeah. Or in a different way, somehow get around it, you know, and find yourself, you know, in your own truth, you know, and project it through all that. It's interesting. It's a very interesting experience. I'm glad I had it. You know, but then, you know, there are all these technical, banal problems, like, you have rashes, your eyes, you know, I had a big problem with my eye, that kind of was swollen and was tearing, and it couldn't be, and nobody knew how. You know, they take the makeup with thinners, they take off the makeup with thinners. I mean, it cannot be good for your skin. I mean, you know.
I don't think those of us on the other side watch and realize what you have to go through I mean, getting into makeup is, I mean, it's one thing, but then getting out of the makeup and to use all the chemicals and stuff.
Your day is much longer than the regular actors.
They have a much easier job.
Be there at 4, they come nicely at 7 and are done in 5 minutes. Yeah, I remember Jerry said, "Oh my God, you're still not done. I'm already.
You're right.
I shot my first scene." You know.
Well, as Lee said, I mean, people like you, and I mean, you definitely deserve that mansion on the hill for, you know, having to go the extra mile to put the makeup on and then deal with everything just to get off it every day.
Now, was Babylon 5 the first real American series that you were doing? I mean, you've done tons of film.
That was the first American job. No, not the first. Well, I did a theater play when I first came to America, but that was the first TV job. And
before that, most of your stuff was in Croatia, Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
Had you done any sci-fi before that?
No.
So science fiction was totally
I'm trying to think if anything that I did was remotely
like fantasy based.
No.
Because you had a pretty long career in Croatia too.
That's right.
When did you start acting?
Well, professionally, my first professional job was when I was 20. I was already studying. I was a student at the Academy of Dramatic Arts, you know, and I got my first job, which was a TV movie, in which I starred a very, very hard role of a girl who overdoses on drugs, and is in every way a lost cause. I like playing her, but a hard and you know, big role, and that's how it started. And then I started working continuously in theater, in film.
What was the name of that movie?
In TV. It was called which means cross the river if you can.
And in Croatian, it sounds like
Prijeđi rijeku ako možeš.
Oh, cool! Very good, very good. So, now has Babylon 5 and then Lost, if you can call Lost a sci-fi show, it is in all intents a sci-fi fantasy type base. Have you done anything else in the sci-fi fantasy world? Or has that been about it? Those have been the two main ones.
Yeah, I've done an episode of a very strange episode of a show called Night Walker,
Okay, you have heard of it?
where I played, a very old woman. I mean, they put tons of, old age makeup on it. It was just very, very creepy.
Creepy to see yourself as old.
Underneath was actually even older. She was old. So we are already in the realm of fantasy.
Right.
And then, and she kind of, it's a very bizarre thing, very bizarre premise. She stays young. She's like, 500 years old or something like that. We realize in the very end of the episode. It's very strange. Anyway, she stays young by killing people and eating their pituitary glands.
Charming.
Yeah,
That's nice.
Yeah, nice. I like those gentle characters. No, but she was very. I played her in an incredibly, sweet and gentle way. Actually,
That makes it more interesting.
Yeah, exactly. That was my.
That makes it even more creepy if she's doing more.
Very creepy.
If she's acting normal.
Yeah.
But doing all this creepy stuff.
Interesting. 'Cause a lot of your characters seem to be a little bit darker. There was especially we talked about Babylon 5 being like one of maybe the first real dark sci-fi shows because it ended up having a dark tone. And now today you see episodes of like Fringe and V and Flash Forward and some of the current sci-fi being very dark. But Babylon 5 came out having a very dark tone to it before a lot of sci-fi did. Do you think maybe it was ahead of its time in that? Or don't you think of it maybe as being a dark show?
I mean, I haven't thought about the dark side, but I have thought about how Babylon 5 was actually the avant-garde, in many ways, of what's happening now. Mm-hmm. With Avatar being nominated for the best picture and so on. I mean, when we did Babylon 5, we were suffering because nobody cared, it seemed to us, the actors. It somehow was, the Warner Brothers that produced it never put any publicity in it. We never knew it was a syndicated show. We never knew where it's going to be. And the fans never knew where to find it.
Right.
It got pushed from here and there. I mean, it really survived truly and really only because of the fans.
Yeah.
Nothing was, the publicity that's put into Lost. I mean, you can't even. I mean,
right.
There's no comparison. I mean, it's like two galaxies. So that's what makes it. It's really an underdog that survived and meant something to people. But science fiction is becoming, with J.J. Abrams directing the new Star Trek movie. It's becoming mainstream. Yeah. It's already there. Right. And with all these shows on TV and so on. So I think Joe Straczynski was really the avant-garde.
Yeah. True, but
pioneers.
Right. Well, if you look at a lot of current sci-fi, Ron Moore's Battlestar Galactica, Caprica, the new Stargate universe, it's not that maybe sci-fi back in the 90s didn't have depth, but it was a little more. It felt a little more sanitized. Babylon 5 didn't feel as sanitized, and I wonder. Maybe the shows that are really popular now have Babylon 5, a lot to their show's success now because Babylon 5. I think Babylon 5 was definitely ahead of its time.
Maybe paved the way.
Paved the way. Absolutely. Yeah.
And like you said,
I say that too. Yeah, no, absolutely, it's true.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about your character on Lost. Let's jump back to Lost because we kind of briefly touched on it here at the beginning and talked about the episodes you were in. Talk about who she was, development of that character for you, and
it seems like something from the past.
How long ago has it been since you?
The thing, with that character is that it has never been truly developed. So that's my sadness about it. But that's how it is. There were glimpses of what it could be, but it never really, flew.
Never really took off.
Well, unfortunately, that's what happened. What I remember as the highlight, acting-wise, was my first episode, actually.
When you first meet her.
Yeah, that was my best episode, which is kind of sad.
It is, because you continue to do it for 3 more seasons. So.
That's kind of bizarre, yeah. But that one with Naveen Andrews, who is a wonderful actor, and somehow it felt like a real job, it felt like we were doing an interesting movie.
Now, what made that episode or that first experience so stand out so much for you?
It was the best writing, I would say, for me.
Okay.
It was just the most developed episode for that character. That's why. And I had an opportunity to work with that wonderful actor. And it went back and forth through time and so on and so on. That was nice. Then somehow I thought that this is how now we're gonna continue. But really, what happened with that character? She was used to just here and there to just give a flair.
Yeah, right.
Like salt.
It left you wanting more. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
What can you do?
I remember reading online that the fans want to see your character come back. So it's, I can understand the
frustration.
The frustration, and you obviously could have taken it so much more if given the opportunity.
So that's my feelings about it. And then it's one of those jobs where you never know what's going to happen. So I did a couple of movies in my own country, so I was not available when they wanted. It's complicated. It's
Where did we last see you in Lost? What was happening to your character in the last time you appeared in Lost?
I died of a random bullet.
How disheartening!
I won't even comment on it.
A good death.
Oh man,
good death.
Where is that big scene?
I know. Where's
that monologue?
No. They can always bring you back in a dream sequence, right?
Absolutely.
If they want to, but
well, are you still doing a lot of conventions a year or a few a year?
Yeah. There was a time, like maybe 3 years ago, when I did a lot. People were asking me, how can you, why? But there was it happens that way. It's like a circular thing. Cyclical, I would say, conventions. And, you can't go to one place so often. People know you, people have your signature. Bye,
so
stay away. So, but there were a couple of years back when I traveled all over Europe and so on and so on. Now I haven't done anything in 2 years. This is my first convention. I think in 2 years. I think, I don't know. It gets blurry.
Yeah, the time to.
And I was here. I was here. They told me 13 years ago.
At Farpoint.
Yeah.
Wow. That would have been with Babylon 5.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very strange. But it stayed on my mind as this lovely, lovely convention. I remember it. Yeah.
Well,
are you from here?
We live up in Pennsylvania.
About an hour,
okay.
hour and a half north.
Okay,
So
okay.
not too far.
Yeah.
We live right in the heart of Amish country.
Wow. I did a convention once in Philadelphia, and then I took a tour. Then there was a driver who took me all over Amish country. How interesting was that?
We have Amish living all around us. It's
Fascinating.
You get used to it after a while.
Do you communicate with them? How does that work?
To a point.
Well, we do with I live on my wife and I live on a farm and have a bed and breakfast right and surrounded by them. And we have very good relationships with our Amish neighbors. So
You have a bed and breakfast
yeah,
in the Amish country?
it is. Do you want to come stay sometime?
Yeah, you have to give me a card. No, really.
I have a card.
Because Marco, my son, is so interested in all that.
Oh, yeah,
and,
we
and
love to
I
have
think
you.
it's really spectacularly interesting. The package and
Oh, yeah.
the whole thing. How people can preserve their way of life for such a long time. I mean,
Yeah. I'll put my information in the back. This is our podcast card.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
put the website, but
Okay.
you can email me there and it would get to me.
cool,
So
cool.
we'll do that then before we go. So, very good. Well, thank you so much for sitting and chatting with us about Lost Babylon 5.